A lot of us find ourselves in that situation where we might be the ones that did the wrong. We might be the ones that hurt somebody or did something that wasn't the nicest, and now we are literally condemning ourselves and we can't get over it. We feel like we don't deserve any good things. We feel like, just all the stuff. And I just want to come here to tell you that you do. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the topic of self-forgiveness. Now, I think that's something that a lot of us have difficulties doing. We can be our own worst enemy, whether we made a small mistake or a big mistake. It can be really, really hard to forgive ourselves or to offer ourselves compassion. And I want to show you guys how to do that in this video. So I was a youth leader for a couple of years, a good amount of time, about 10 years. And I remember we went to this youth conference in Pennsylvania. And we would go here. It was like an amazing conference. They had a bunch of rides to be able to get the youth involved in all this stuff when they weren't in the services. And I remember there was this one ride that it was almost like a swing. And you would go up all the way to the top of the swing, and then you would hit it, and you would go and you would swing down and back, almost like a pendulum. And if you have ever, I don't know if you have ever been on a ride like that, but I know for me, I am a screamer. I'm a screamer on rides, and that's besides the point, but I love to scream on the ride. So if you ever have a chance to go on a ride with me, woohoo! Yes, I'm a screamer. But the way this ride worked was that you would be swinging back and forth, but there would be somebody at the bottom, and the person at the bottom, he or she would climb the ladder, and they would help you get up to the ride. And I remember that me and a couple of the youth that I was in my group, we went on the ride, and it was super fun. But I remember the next day, we were all, all the youth leaders were in a room. We were all just getting ready for the next session. And somebody came in and said, oh my gosh, there was an accident on the slide. There was an accident on the swing, sorry. And the person who went to go, help them up on the ladder forgot to take the ladder away when they went up. So when they came down, they chopped it, they came down, they slapped right into the ladder. And I remember hearing that and just oh my gosh. I mean, I can feel for people very, very, very deeply. If someone is hurting, I can hurt very, very fast. Oh my gosh, if I see somebody crying, immediate tears. I am that type of person. I don't know if you are. Maybe you're not, and that's okay. But there's not a lot of people like that. But yes, I'm immediate, and I definitely can feel very, very deeply. So I remember feeling oh my gosh, I can't even imagine the pain that these, kids or whoever was on the ride was going through. And we were called to pray for that whole situation. And I found myself praying for them, but then I felt God also put on my heart, oh my goodness, Lord, please also take care of the person who forgot to take the ladder away. I can't even imagine what that person is going through right now, how much he or she is beating themselves up, literally beating themselves up, thinking they're the worst person in the world, and how could I make such a stupid mistake, and all of this stuff. I can't even imagine what they're feeling. And I don't know, because especially a lot of the conversation that was happening was about the victims and the people that got hit. And of course, they needed 1000% prayer for sure. But I think sometimes we neglect to also pray for the person who might have done wrong. And that person, because the focus is going on the victims, can also not know how to forgive themselves too. And I think a lot of us find ourselves in that situation where we might be the ones that did the wrong. We might be the ones that hurt somebody or did something that wasn't the nicest, and now we are literally condemning ourselves and we can't get over it. We feel like we don't deserve any good things. We feel like, just all the stuff. And I just want to come here to tell you that you do. There is a way to get out of it, and it's called self-compassion. It's called forgiveness. And I want to take you through 3 very basic steps, but it's things that I do. These steps I literally do. And I have this little meditation that I do, listen to, and just whenever I'm feeling like I made the craziest mistake, because we can all be our biggest critic, like our worst critic. And even if it's a small mistake, we can do that. So here are the steps that I go through when I made a mistake and I need to practice self-forgiveness or self-compassion. The first one is to acknowledge that you made the mistake. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge, one, that you are human, and two, that, yeah, you might have hurt somebody, or yeah, you might have done this thing that, you know, go completely against your morals, or go completely against what you would do right now in, you know, in a sane mind, or whatever the case may be, or that you made a mistake. Acknowledge that it happened. It happened, and you can acknowledge that, you know, it was something that you're not proud of, and that's okay. That's normal. Acknowledge it. So that's the step number one. So acknowledge that you made the mistake. Step number two is to think about what conditions actually caused that mistake to happen. Was there anything that you might have been needing in that situation? Maybe you were extremely tired and you know, this is a really bad example. Maybe you decided to drive anyway and you fell asleep at the wheel. This is like so bad. Actually, I don't even want to say that because maybe that happened to you. But maybe that happened, and you know, or maybe you broke somebody's heart, or maybe you know, whatever the case may be. What caused that thing to happen? What caused it? What were the events that were leading up to that thing? Were you feeling desperate about something? Were you feeling in your head about something? Maybe you had an unmet need for love and support, or maybe you were just super tired, or maybe it could be a whole slew of things. And I think the gamut can really run from like the small mistakes to the really, really big ones. But like, what were you seeking in that area that caused you to do that thing that you're not so proud of right now? Because I think I talk about a lot on this channel, self-awareness. And if we're not aware of what caused it, then it can be very easy to make that again. I think there's a quote, and I'm gonna mess this quote up, but it's about, if we don't learn from history, we end up repeating it. And I think that happens with us too. If we don't learn the things that have caused us to do a certain thing, then we can be the ones to repeat it. So I want you to think about that. What are the things that cause that? And in this self-reflection part of number two, I want you to also think, are the voices that I'm hearing of condemnation, are they from others, or are they from myself? Sometimes it can honestly be from other people. It can. But I think that it won't resonate as much if we aren't feeling that same thoughts of condemnation in our heads already. If we're not already feeling, oh my gosh, I'm the worst person in the world, then if someone says something to us, then it won't hit home as much. It won't hit a trigger if we're not already feeling that inside, right? So I just want you to think about that. Am I believing the thoughts that I'm the worst person? Whether or not I'm hearing it from somebody else, am I believing that in myself? Okay, that's step number two, is self-reflection. So one is acceptance and acknowledgement, and two is reflection on what actually caused it. The third step is, now that you know what caused it and what led up to the situation, is where grace and where mercy comes in. Grace is giving you what you don't deserve, giving you something amazing and beautiful, this gift that you don't deserve. And mercy is holding back what we actually do deserve. And that is what's so beautiful, so beautiful about this faith and this life, and honestly about a relationship with God. And like what that's taught me is that the things that I don't deserve, I still receive. The gifts I don't deserve, I still receive. And then the things that I do deserve that are bad, I don't receive. And I'm like my debt is paid, you know? Okay. I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but like literally your debt is paid. And now it's just time for you to forgive yourself for it. Big or small mistake, you can do it. And one other thing I just wanted to say, an example is, if, say, a child that was like 5 or 6 years old came up to you and told you that they did this really bad thing and they're really like ashamed of it, they're really embarrassed of it, would you look that child in the eye and say, all right, well, I get that you did that, but all right, now you gotta suffer for it for the rest of your life. I know that you're sorry. I know that you didn't mean to steal the cookie from the cookie jar. I know you didn't mean to so and so and so. I know you didn't mean to lie, and now that lie, you know, spiraled out of control. But you gotta suffer. You gotta suffer for the rest of your life. No, I mean, I don't think any person would say that to a child. I don't think any person would say that to a child. But we, it's things that we've dealt with yesterday or decades ago, we are still allowing ourselves to suffer because of the mistakes that we've made in the past. And I think that it's just time to allow ourselves to let go. Realizing that we're human, that there were things that maybe caused that led up to it, and just figure out, okay, how can I try to prevent that from happening again in the future? And a big part is just offering yourself compassion. So I hope this helped. I really, really, really do. I hope it helped somebody out there. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'm here in the comments. But yeah, I love you guys so, so, so much. And I hope you have a really great day. Bye, guys.